Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I like to show you how to make this beautiful skirt with godet, and I hope that maybe we can sew this together. I named this skirt Ophelia, and the pattern for it comes with 4 skirt options. A fuller and a fluffier one with 12 godet in a mini and a midi version, and a less fluffier one with 8 godet in a mini and a midi version as well. I hope that you will give it a try and sew the Ophelia skirt together. Let's start. I have here the fabric, a beautiful viscose, and I'm going to use about 2 meters. The pattern that is printed in my size, which is 34 EU, and I'm going to show you later how to assemble it, interfacing, invisible zipper, and tools. Each pattern piece is numbered, and you will find that the circles are also noted with numbers corresponding to each pattern piece. Start by cutting or folding one side of the paper and the bottom when it's necessary. You will see that the bottom of the page will not be necessary to cut for all the pages. Place the pages in order and match the circles. After that, tape them in place. Here is an overview of the pattern. Now let's cut all the pattern pieces, the godet, skirt panels, and waistband. Moving on to the fabric and pattern placement. I have here my fabric folded in half, so I'll have to cut off 6 godets and 6 skirt panels. It's really important to place the godet with a straight grain parallel to the fabric. In this way the godet will be cut on the bias. Place the skirt panels straight on the fabric and the waistband at the fold of the fabric. Now you can cut from the fabric all the pattern pieces. After you cut all the pattern pieces, please make sure to mark all the notches. Mark the zipper notch only on 2 skirt panels. I have here all the pattern pieces, 12 godet, 12 skirt panels, and the waistband. I recommend you to overlock or do a zigzag stitch to the sides of the godet, the sides and the top edge of the skirt panels, and for the waistband, overlock or do a zigzag stitch for all the edges. Now let's assemble the skirt panels. Place one panel of the skirt on the table with right side up. On it, place another one with right side down, matching the notches. Now pin them in place. You'll stitch them from the top edge until the notch. You can stitch them 2 by 2 or assemble in pins all the panels and then stitch. I prefer the last method. Unfold the first 2 panels that you've pinned, and on the second one, place another panel matching the notches and pin them. Repeat the same steps until you pin all the panels. Now let's stitch them with 1 cm of seam allowance from the top edge until the godet mark. I'm using a medium stitch length and make sure to back stitch twice at the end. Here is how it's looking so far. Next, it's pressing time. Make sure to press well each seam, and I recommend you to press the seam all the way down or at least on half of the unstitched panel. This step will help us when we are going to install the godet. Moving on to the godet. I chose to show here on a black fabric stitched with white thread, so it will be more clear. The skirt panels are placed with the wrong side up, and on the skirt we are going to place the godet also with the wrong side up. Place the godet matching the two notches. The notch on the skirt at the bottom of the seam is to be matched with the notch on the godet. Pin the godet in place, then pin one side of the godet with one side of the seam, matching the edges. Here you have to be a little bit careful and try not to stretch the godet while pinning, because the sides of the godet are cut on the bias and it can cause misalignment if you stretch it. Here is how to stitch the godet. Start to stitch from the top using a smaller stitch length for 2.5 cm 1 inch down, and do not backstitch. We are going to make a knot with these threads later. After you stitch down 2.5 cm with a smaller length, now you can change to a medium length and stitch until you reach the bottom where you need to backstitch. Now repeat the same steps for the other side of the godet by pinning and stitching. When you are stitching the other side of the godet, try to position your needle as close as possible to the previous stitch. Now that the godet is stitched, tie the threads into a knot, secure it, and cut the excess. This is the way that the godet is installed. It wasn't that hard, right? Now let's press it. Remember while pressing that all seam allowance should be going towards the garment and not the godet. But before pressing, let me show you a small trick on how to make the godet lay better. Cut a small slit into the seam allowance near the mark, only on the garment side. This trick will help the godet and the seam to lay smoother. And here is our smooth and beautiful godet. Now let's move on to the skirt. Install the godet like I've showed you, paying attention to not stretch them. If you experience some misalignment, do not panic. It can happen sometimes, especially with stretchy fabrics. So you can go and correct it after you stitch all the godet by overlock, zigzag stitch, or cut off the excess. Install 11 or 7 godet depending on the skirt option that you've chosen, and leave the last one unattached. We are going to stitch that one later. Cut small slits into the seam and press towards the garment all the godet on both the right side and the wrong side of the fabric. It's important to take your time and press really well. This will help the fabric to lay better. Let's move on to the gathering stitch. With the longest stitch length on your sewing machine, stitch 2 straight lines, one at 0.5 cm from the top edge and the other one at 0.5 cm from the first stitch. Make sure to keep the seam allowance open on the wrong side of the garment while stitching. Now start gathering the skirt by pulling the 2 threads. Gather until it fits the waistband. Next step, the waistband. Before attaching the waistband to the skirt, interface half of it. After you interface it, press the waistband in half. Now it's ready to be installed. Open the waistband and place it on the skirt with right sides together. Start to match the waistband and the skirt together by pinning them from one edge to another. If it is necessary, adjust the gathering. Stitch with 1 cm of seam allowance. Pay attention to lay flat and well the gathered skirt while stitching. Now press the seam really well and remove the gathering threads if you would like so. Moving on to the back seam, place the sides of the skirt with right sides facing each other and pin them. Here you will need to stitch from the zipper mark until the godet mark. Then press the seam really well. After you finish the back seam, it's time to install the last godet. Stitch it just in the way you did with the others. Next, it's time to install the invisible zipper. I will show you my method of how I'm installing it. Place the skirt with right side up and on it, place the zipper with right side down. Place the left part of the zipper tape on the right part of the skirt. Match the zipper stopper with the crease of the waistband and pin it in place. Now stitch the left part of the zipper with a normal sewing foot. Next, turn the skirt inside out. Pin the zipper tail to the seam, 2 cm down from where the side seam ends. Mark the waistline on the zipper tape. Pin the other side of the zipper and then stitch it. Now that you've stitched both sides of the zipper, check if everything is okay. Next, open the zipper and insert the zipper slider between the side seam and the pin. Turn the skirt with right side out and using an invisible zipper foot, stitch the zipper carefully until the side seam starts. After you stitch the zipper, it's time to release the zipper slider. Then, press the zipper really well. Moving on to the waistband corners. For this step, you can trim the zipper tape that it is unattached or pin it towards outside of the waistband corners. Open the zipper and fold at the crease the waistband with right sides together and pin it. Now stitch the waistband corners as close as possible to the zipper tape. Press the seam, turn the corners and make them as sharp as possible, then press them one more time. Now let's finish the waistband. For this step we are going to make a stitch and ditch on the right side of the skirt. Daisy is going to catch the other side of the waistband on the wrong side of the fabric, and in this way we are not going to get any visible seams on the outside of the skirt. Place the sewing foot over the waistband seam and position your needle right on the seam where the waistband and the skirt body are attached. Slowly start to stitch on the seam all the way down. Take your time, I know it can be a little bit harder, but I'm sure that you can do it. Now that you finish the waistband, it is time to press the seam really well, and after that press the waistband really well. Last step is the hem. Overlock or do a zigzag stitch at the bottom of the skirt. Then fold the hem, pin it or press it and start to stitch it. After you finish the hem, press it really well. And now, well, congrats, your Ophelia skirt is ready. Thank you very much for taking the time to sew the Ophelia skirt with me. If you like this video, I would very much appreciate if you consider liking it and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Also, if you have the pleasure to check my other digital sewing patterns, I link them in the description below. Thank you so much for staying until now. Your support means everything to me, and I'm waiting you in the comment section to talk about sewing and much more. Have an amazing day.